Right now, the worst Bitcoin signal is about to flash. And yes, historically, whenever this signal occurs, Bitcoin tends to enter a bear market. And on today's update video, obviously, I am going to talk about the big CME gap that is still trading below us, where many people on social media are talking about. I'm going to be talking, of course, about the exact Bitcoin trend we're currently trading in. I'm going to talk about where the big support for Bitcoin is going to be laying. I'm going to be breaking it down on the liquidity. I'm going to be looking at very important historical data, big charts, important charts, and of course, I'm going to discuss this big signal which is right now flashing on Bitcoin. I'm going to be breaking it down for everyone out there on today's update video. I'm going to give an update on my trades, what my strategy is right now for Bitcoin. So don't forget to once again watch this video till the end. It's going to be an absolutely critical video to be watching. So don't forget to once again slap all the like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And let me jump straight away in today's update video. And to kick off the video straight away, but before diving in towards the charts, yesterday the New York Fed apparently had an emergency meeting with the Wall Street banks there to discuss money market liquid concerns. And these are similar problems like in 2008. But basically, there are big liquidity problems right now on Wall Street. And that is a signal that the system is breaking. So what came out of that meeting? We don't know. But we are clearly getting more and more signals that potentially the system is breaking. More about later. And if you want to be staying up to date about this topic, make sure to follow me on X. But let me first discuss some charts on Bitcoin. So first of all, there's a very important CME gap that many people are talking about. And historically, most of the CME gaps tends to get filled up here. And since right now everyone is talking about this one, the $90,000 CME gap, or $91,000 I should say, yeah, Bitcoin could potentially fill it up here. And if we look back at all the previous CME gaps, this is the only big one that is actually still yet to be filled up here. If we're just looking back at all the history, except the one that is of course trading around $9,000 all the way back here in 2020, or sorry, 2020 July here. That one over here is still not filled up. And what is a very interesting story is that one of my friends, he lost out here because he said, no, I'm only going to be buying Bitcoin whenever it fills up the CME gap. And of course, that was around $9,000. And look at the big rally he missed towards the upside. So that is, of course, a very important take here. CME gaps usually get filled up here, but they don't necessarily always have to get filled up here. But of course, we do have a CME gap currently trading below us. And the chance is just usually like around 90% that we are going to fill up the CME gap around $90,000. The question is, are we already going to fill it up this week, or are we first going to create a bounce here and then only fill it up later? That is, of course, the question we want to be answering. Personally, I've been looking at this orange box right here as my big level of accumulation. I've, of course, entered a lot of my Bitcoin trades on Bitcoin over there. Currently, I'm still in about 31% in a loss here, but I'm taking the loss so far here. Because personally, I do think that a bounce is most likely going to come very soon here. Because yes, the drop here that we have been seeing is been getting a little bit less exponential. We are still trading, of course, in this lower high structure on Bitcoin. But we are finally starting to see somewhat of a reversal signal, right? We're creating a bullish divergence on the lower side where, of course, the RSI is creating a higher low. We are starting to bounce from it already. The chart is creating a lower low. So we're creating a bullish divergence, which is a great signal. But I do want to be warning everyone about it. With my trade as well, I am not necessarily looking to be trading Bitcoin to tremendous highs here. No, I am actually looking to trade the bounce and then exit the market. Because like I said also in the intro of today's video, there are just a lot of dangerous signals right now occurring. For example, this death cross signal, which is right now playing out. And historically, every single death cross that happened at the end stage of a Bitcoin bear 4-year cycle, which was also here in January 2022, we had the death cross, and that was the beginning of the Bitcoin bear market. Also, if we look at 2018, we had the death cross, was also a signal that the big Bitcoin bear market was, of course, starting. So those things are just very important signals you should take very seriously right now. Here I have got a chart with all these previous times here in 2014, 2017, 2021, and 2025 next to each other. And this is just a very important take. And it's something very important to understand. If you believe in the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, this is a clear indication the 4-year cycle is right now coming towards an end, right? So I do want to be, of course, warning everyone about it. And also, for example, the 50 weekly moving average. We're right now breaking below it. Historically, whenever this does happen, it indicates the beginning of a Bitcoin bear market. And I also do want to be mentioning the fact that, let's say we are going to be in 2 or 3 weeks break back above this level, then maybe we could start to say the Bitcoin 4-year cycle is breaking. We're going to see something different for Bitcoin this time around here. But as long as that is not happening, I wouldn't call it. And I would still take a look at Bitcoin as of this chart right here and look at, for example, the big bearish divergence and see more danger in Bitcoin rather than good here. So I still think Bitcoin is looking a little bit more dangerous. And of course, like I discussed in yesterday's video, if I'm going to be talking about any level where I personally think the Bitcoin is a good time to accumulate, I think from of $74,000, Bitcoin is going to be entering its likely bottom zone here, all the way down to $50,000. So from of that zone, I will just dollar cost average in towards the market every single day to get a good average entry price on Bitcoin. So that is for me going to be the strategy. And of course, if I'm just looking at Bitcoin, we are right now breaking one of the most important levels of support, which I just cannot ignore right now here. Of course, something very wonderful must be happening if we're going to be closing this weekly candle in the green here. But it looks to be that we're going to be breaking this support box right here. And I think on next week's candle, we're at least going to be seeing a slight bounce here. But ultimately, that could be a very big trap here. So yeah, I do want everyone to be paying attention towards these charts there. So what I'm going to be doing with my trades, I hope to be, of course, trading this all the way back to up towards about $100,000, maybe a little bit higher, $102,000. And of course, if it would go all the way back towards the high here, around $106,000, it would be an amazing opportunity for me to offload my positions. So let's see how it's going to be playing out. But of course, I will keep you guys up to date in the VP Telegram group, what I will be doing with my trades here. So make sure to join the VP Telegram group here using the second link in today's video description. And if you sign up an account to WeX using that first link in today's video description, guys, you will not only get a 25% fee rebate, making this the cheapest exchange to operate from for sure, but also they're offering an insane $30,000 deposit bonus. But of course, always make sure to do your own research. Trading is risky. And yeah, I'm just showing you what I am doing. And of course, make sure to always do your own research. But I do think very great opportunities are going to occur. And if you're looking for an exchange where you want to be trading on, WeX is, in my opinion, definitely going to be the one. Looking at ETH here, it is still trading on that lower side of support. It is holding up quite strong here if you're going to compare it towards Bitcoin. We are seeing still it's bouncing from the 50 weekly moving average. And in my opinion, it doesn't make sense here that Ethereum is honestly going to be topping out just moments after it broke above the all-time high. It's just a slight little liquidity grab and it dumps all the way towards the downside. I just don't see a chart that does that here. So honestly, if I just purely look at the chart, I still think this is going to go towards all-time highs here. And I truly hope it will go to all-time highs here. But if I then look at the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, it definitely tells us that it is most likely not going to be doing so. But also, if I'm looking at ETH compared to Bitcoin, I do think there's going to be a strong bounce for ETH compared to Bitcoin because we are trading clearly in an uptrend right now after having this horrifying downtrend for multiple years on ETH compared to BTC. So ETH, I definitely think is going to be doing quite good in the upcoming period. It's trading against the 50 weekly moving average. If you are interested in accumulating Ethereum, this is of course an interesting level, but ultimately Ethereum is going to be mirroring the Bitcoin price action. And since Bitcoin is breaking below all the critical bull market support levels, I should take Ethereum also with a little bit more caution. So I am not saying that Bitcoin is not going to create a bounce. I actually am saying that Bitcoin is going to create a very strong bounce soon here. And of course, on this next bounce, I personally would like to, of course, offload my positions and potentially, if we're going to come back towards $110,000, potentially look at the short position on Bitcoin. So that is going to be my strategy right now here. I'm going to keep you guys up to date about what I will be doing next year. And of course, if some things are going to be changing, my bias will be changing as well here. But this is my bias as of for now here. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching towards the amazing new update video. Subscribe to the channel, slap all that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.